All right, Sam. I've been here for 2 days and one evening. Got here the night before we got started. Have spent some time with you, and I feel like I've already met another pioneer. You know, there's a feeling that I can get sometimes when I meet someone who has done something similar in terms of innovating and pioneering something unique and special and great. And in a very short period of time of interacting with you, witnessing the people of your program, learning about its mission, I'm completely blown away. And I feel inspired for as many people as possible to, just like a pioneer does, you know, they blaze trail and then they go back to the settlement and they say, come this way, I've made it easy for you. I feel inspired to talk about and share what it is you're doing. I'm inspired by what you're doing. You've directly gone at the heart of the gun violence problem here in a place that is notorious nationally for gun violence, the Bay Area. You've done something very meaningful here. Can you tell us a little bit about you and that experience? Because it completely blows me away.
All right, Andy. As you said, Sam Vaughn. I was born in the Midwest, but moved to the Bay Area when I was 1 year old. So this is home, born and bred as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Was a victim, you know, when I was growing up, teenage, you know, adolescence. It was the crack epidemic. And so growing up around a lot of violence, a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of folks who had minimal education, but very well could be millionaires. And if they weren't, they looked like they were, and they were spending money like they were.
Yeah.
And so it was a it was a challenging time to grow up. You know, normally, you know, folks would empower you, go to school. We're a blue collar family, so I didn't know anybody that was going to college. But finish school, get a good job, work for 35 years, retire, take care of a family, and go off and live your life. That wasn't very attractive in that time, you know, because you could literally see somebody driving around a car that was 2 years worth of your daddy's salary, and he did it right, and look what it got him. So it was very enticing to do the wrong thing. But in the process of doing the wrong thing, there came a lot of, you know, danger.
Risk.
That came with that. And so even if you weren't a violent person, you at least had to act like you were willing to be, just to be able to survive. And if somebody did something to you that broke a certain code that the streets lived by, then you had an obligation to do something back, or you would continue to be a victim. And so, you know, they always talk about the wolf in sheep's clothing. I learned there were a lot of sheep in wolves' clothing. And you just couldn't tell.
Yeah.
And so you made decisions based on a code, and then sometimes your decision would cost you grief because the other person wasn't living by that same code.
That's right.
When the pressure
That's right. They caved.
And so, you know, I lived that life. I did also have a great work ethic because I seen my father work his tail off. So I was kind of living both lives. You know, I decided that, you know, a man needs a job. You need a steady income. You need something you can depend on, you know, get that check every week. So I joined the construction trades, worked my ass off during the day, and then came home and lived the street life at night, and then went to sleep and started over. That was in complete contrast and conflict of each other, and it ended up coming into a crash, and I spent 10 years in prison for a decision that I made. And while in there, I got to really address some of the low-lying traumas that was in my life. I had to address that, you know, I was fed a lie that I lived as complete truth and was willing to put my life and my freedom on the line for. And then I went through a sense of real grief and sorrow that I did not see the truth as it was, and I missed a great opportunity in what I could have been in life. I don't know. I know I was very intelligent. School was very easy for me. So I didn't even try.
Right.
And all I wanted to do was spend that time to get my mind together, to get my soul together, to get my heart right. So when I came home, I would never have to spend another day laying on a cement or a metal bed.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of energy into that. did a lot of training, did a lot of self-reflection.
Yep.
And when I came home, I was ready. I was ready to go, and I got right back in my trade. And then the housing crisis hit.
Yep.
So
Out of work.
construction's dead. And so I couldn't just, sit there and wait for work to come. I didn't have the year prior with work experience, so I wasn't going to get any unemployment. So I had options, which were very minimal, but they were options.
Yeah.
I can go back to what I knew before
Right.
I went to prison, or I can piecemeal something together. And so every day I tried to find something to do. I would go to Labor Ready
Right.
as a day laborer.
Right.
I would do something to try to earn some resources, or something to do something that I could earn some resources tomorrow.
Yeah.
Applications, not many interviews, because I had to check that box as being an ex-felon.
Yep.
So gaining work was hard, and then I found this niche to where my life experiences were valued. And so I would go into juvenile halls and run programs. I would go into the youth authority and run programs. And then I bumped into an organization called the ONS, which I was familiar with, but didn't have the knowledge that they were actually hiring. Got a part-time job with ONS, which really just
Which is Office of Neighborhood
Office of
Safety.
Neighborhood Safety.
And was that here?
This
Or
was
this
no,
was-
it wasn't here in City Hall yet, because it was still being rebuilt.
Okay.
So they had offices off-site. The
Okay.
entire city had offices off-site.
Okay. But it was still a city program.
It was a city department.
Okay.
But all they did was just encourage me to continue doing the reentry work,
Right.
and like identifying folks in those institutions that I was going into that from Richmond.
Okay.
Yeah, okay,
That needed support. You could give them some
You're about to
navigation.
come home, so let me put a little bit more energy into you. Let me let you know where there's some resources out there when you're released, and contact me so I can help walk you through that. And after doing that for about 16 months, a full-time position came on for the ONS, and I applied and I got it. And so then at that time, now it's about the ONS mission, which is to reduce gun violence.
How did you do it? I mean, that's the thing that I think is the most profound. The team of people you put together, what you thought their eligibility should be, and what their strategic mission was. And if you could talk about that, I think that's the sizzle to the steak.
Okay, so initially when the ONS outreach hit the streets, it was April of 2008. And it was 4 outreach workers. And the goal was to reduce gun violence within a specific area in Richmond, which is called the Iron Triangle.
Okay.
And so in 2007, there was 47 homicides. Of those 47, I would say 27 was in this specific area.
Okay.
So the outreach was isolated to this.
Those 27 occurrences.
Yeah, and I wasn't involved with that outreach at the time. I
Okay.
had been hired. And so it was literally outreach. It was just individuals going to this gun violence plagued area, building relationships, offering resources, and just being present. And in 2008, for that year in Iron Triangle, there was only 3 homicides. And so the city was like, "Yep, we found the magic potion.
Right.
Do that, but do it everywhere.
Okay.
And do it with the same resources."
Oh,
And so we went down to, I believe, 28 homicides in 2008
as a city.
as a city total, 3
Right.
of which was in the Iron Triangle.
Right.
And then now you do a citywide, and boom, 45 homicides. And so they were able to negotiate. It was like, we can't do this the way you want us to do this with
Right.
these resources. And that's when they received more resources to hire more staff. And
Okay.
that's when I came on. So I came on at the end of 2000.
You came on when the expansion
Of the-
occurred from Iron Triangle to the city.
No, I came on after that expansion.
Okay.
So that expansion showed that you cannot do this work that way.
Okay.
In this capacity.
But you hadn't impacted the data yet at the city level, because after Iron Triangle was mitigated
In 2008.
and they saw that the city could benefit in totality,
Yes.
they
They spent a year with the same 4 staff members citywide.
and the problem set was too significant.
Exactly.
So when they expanded, when did they expand the
End
program?
of 2009.
At the end of 2009. And at the end of 2009, what was the total number of
Homicide?
homicides.
45
Okay. And when was that number reduced?
in 2010,
Okay. And when did you come on board?
2009.
Okay.
End of
So you were part of
I was part of the strategy.
the strategy to reduce the gun violence. What is it that the people do specifically that you, and we've had some green room kind of conversations where there are unique challenges to this work because you have people that are reaching out to people served who are of interest to the law enforcement community, possibly because of their the way they live their life, and you're trying to lead them out of that, but you're both working for us. The city is the police agency employer and the ONS employer, and there is a need for collaboration, and there's also a need for boundaries. How you navigated that without implosion is the thing that is so exciting to me, that you've been able to establish partnership with leadership of the police agency to help manage the occurrences of friction, because I think it's completely fair to say this is not a real harmonious kind of program. It's like holding two things that are important and true together, but they're opposite.
Yeah. And so just to make a simple correction, there was no collaboration.
Okay, fair enough. There was none. There is now.
Well, with CCRP, that's a complete different.
Okay.
With ONS.
And that's the ROC program. That's the community outreach program. So there is no collaboration.
ONS and RPD have no collaboration. What we do have, based on the years and years of conflict, is an understanding.
Okay. Tell us more about that.
Well, that understanding is we have nothing to do with the way you operate. We're not out there. We're out on the streets. I've seen a number of times where an officer has done something that I disapprove of.
Right.
But that ain't none of my business.
Right? Because if you were to turn that into your fight,
you're looking at what we do, and you may disapprove. And I respect that.
Right.
I also respectfully ask you to understand that it's none of your business.
Right.
And with a lot of bumps and bruises, we've gotten to that place to
where there's mutual respect.
You please do your job. I am not going to get in the way of you doing your job. We're just asking for that same.
Right. I'm not going to impede you. Please don't impede me.
When we see police, I go the opposite direction.
You've taken some knocks, though.
This is what I mean. It's been a lot of.
But you personally,
we all have.
Yeah.
We all have. There's been disrespect. There's been arrests of city staff. There's been searching of vehicles of city staff. There's been personal attacks from RPD or the Police Association of City Staff. I'm sure there's been investigations. I'm sure there's been phone taps.
Right.
I'm sure there's been. I work off the understanding that my phone is always tapped.
Yep. Smart.
So just
smart.
Act accordingly.
Yep. And notwithstanding, like, here's the amazing thing. Here's where our histories are analogous, same but different. You have addressed one of the most important safety issues within the community that you would think everybody would celebrate this.
Yeah, but I would think that's naive also.
Fair enough.
Certain populations' turmoil is others' industry.
Yep, I couldn't agree more, and I have absolutely fallen prey to that naivete when we deployed an emergency response team program in a very, very large and violent behavioral health care system. As we arrived and began to reduce the episodes of violence and seclusion and restraint, we thought everybody would be thrilled about this, and that was not the case, because there were entire cohorts, psychiatrists, nurses, the unions that represent them, that were not happy with what was happening here, that other people were getting involved and interfering with judgment and outcomes. Even though they felt that way, no one could dispute that it's better if people are nonviolent than violent. But like you said, to your point, if people are becoming less violent, with intervention as opposed to chemical intervention, medication, coercive strategy. That's the industry. Like you say, that's the industry of those practitioners, and you're interfering with their industry, so they feel like they have to protect it.
Yeah.
So that's
A lot of times they take it as very personal.
Yes. Yeah, I had posters about me put up in elevators that were just awful, or members of my team getting buzzed in the parking lot very close where, you know, another employee would, you know, suggest that they were going to hit them with their vehicle. Those kinds of things. It's amazing. This is the stuff that I see in you, where those themes have played out differently here, but they're so similar. And what's the gun violence today?
Well, the end of the year is here. We're beginning of the 2026, and this has been the lowest amount of gun violence that we've seen in the history of Richmond.
Lowest amount of gun violence seen in the history of Richmond.
Well, since they've been keeping records.
Since they've been keeping records. So, you know, for some time. You have data for some extended period
Absolutely.
of time. Okay.
The last 60 years, 50 years.
And in the lowest, and at a time in the city's history where gun violence is at its lowest, we have ongoing conflict, at which now, though, there is at least
There's
a mutual respect.
And I would also say, in there's the old guard is gone.
Yeah.
And so when we started, the folks who had the most issues with the work that we did the majority of them are no longer here.
Yep.
And so with the with the administration, the brass over there at our RPD, they are the ones who were the patrol officers.
Right.
At that time.
And they've seen the evolution of this.
They've seen it. They can't deny it.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say all of them agree with it, but they have to respect it.
Yep.
And so the messaging to the new officers and the younger officers, and a lot of those officers, which are from the community or local communities, they grew up in what it used to look like, and they've seen the difference also.
Yeah.
And so it's a new era, it's a new dawn, it's a new day.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a mutual respect and an understanding. And I can appreciate the evolution of it.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate our new staff that will never have to go through some of the things.
That's the pioneer that I'm looking at in front of me. And I would say, Sam, to take some credit, as my brother Dan Gapsch would say, receive this. I'm going to give you something. It takes a very special leader to bring a group of people through that experience and demonstrate the resilience and the resolve and the determination to see it through. That's not for everybody. You have very special qualities that your life experience prepared you for this leadership role that you've had. Your dad's work ethic, your experience of insight through analyzing your own behavior, your desire to embody hope and change for other human beings, up to and including the people that you supervise and work for you in this program, because they're watching how you manage the resistance, the stress, the forces that would undermine, let's say, people with less experience. So thank you for enduring all that you've had to endure to bring about these outcomes, and for sharing that experience with others, because I've been around for a little while now. I never even knew what ONS was about or what was going on down here.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
We're working with a population that lives in the shadows, and we have to live in the shadows with them, which is another thing that folks don't understand, and they'll try to attack.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because I think this is important. I come from a world of crisis, de-escalation, crisis negotiation. You're engaged in crisis negotiation with
those who
gangs
are creating the crisis.
And those who are creating the crisis.
We don't have gangs really in Richmond. We have communities that consider each other family.
Okay, fair enough.
We like to look at it. And it's funny. We always just considered it like it's the Hatfields and McCoys.
Right.
Like you're born into a war that you don't even understand. that you grow up understanding that those folks over there killed your granddaddy.
Yeah.
Those folks over there killed your daddy.
Right.
They killed your uncle.
And you carry responsibility to that.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, We could do this for hours, but at minimum, I wanted at least the community that follows our work to know that we're here, we're with you, we're as excited and feel as honored to be here as your team has let us know that they appreciate our presence in delivering the training. And I want everybody to know about the work that you're doing here, because I think it's magical and special, and that other people need to learn what the hell you're doing. So thank you. Thank you
appreciate that,
for
man.
everything. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it.